what you're getting wrong about self-love is you are possibly having a difficult time accepting yourself. And what I mean by that is you may feel like that you have to get to a certain point on your healing journey, that you may have to be a certain weight, that you may have to look a certain way, get to a certain point, reach a certain goal, or get a certain job, graduate school, whatever life goals, whatever you have in mind that you really are going after and want. You may have it wrapped up in your head that, you may not be realizing that there is no point you have to get to love yourself. What I find that many of us are doing when we have a depletion of self-love is that we're trying to earn our own love. Now, this could be true especially if you believe that love has to be earned. If you've always overperformed for love, always overextended yourself, then you may be doing the same thing to you when it comes to your own love for yourself. You may feel like you don't even deserve your own love. So, what you're getting wrong about self love in this point is that you believe that you have to earn your own love, and you don't.
Excuse me, can I please talk to you for a minute?
Hey, girlfriends. Welcome back to the Hey Girlfriend podcast. I'm your host, Kindall D. And today we're talking about self love, but I kind of want to put it like a little spin on it. Not really a spin on it, I guess, but I think it's important to talk about certain topics in different ways because it may reach people in different ways and different people, or some things may resonate with you and give you that aha moment because it's said in a different way, although you may know some of the materials I'm about to say. I came up with this because I'm coaching someone currently, and I've been coaching her for a while, but I'm coaching her right now, and I was mentioning some acts of self-love to her that she was doing because I think it's important that I mention these things to you on your healing journey, so it's just not you trying to heal. It's also acknowledging where you've grown and also acknowledging things about yourself that I guess you may have not realized or noticed what you're doing. And so I was pointing out a few things to her, and I was like, honoring yourself and honoring your needs, honoring your mental health, honoring all of that is you showing yourself self-love. It doesn't have to be a weakness that, you can't do some things, or that you're a little different than others, or that you get overwhelmed more easily. Um and I said that because, I myself dealt with some things like that. And I thought about, like, you know what? I could sit here and feel down about myself because I get overwhelmed so easily. Or I can, on the flip side, look at it and say, well, that's an act of self love for me because I am honoring myself and my needs. And I'm honoring that so that I can know how to show up for myself or what I can and can't do. It's okay. So that leads me into today's podcast topic. And maybe this can help you on your self love journey because, to be honest, you all, girlfriends, you are always going to need your self love, even in a good relationship. No matter where you go out through life, you are always going to need you and your self love. And I feel like it's always growing. It can deplete in some points when certain life factors happen, and sometimes it can be at its highest. I believe it can, see the valleys and see the peaks, to be honest. And so I'll forever talk about self-love, I guess, because now that I'm thinking about it, I have a few podcasts on here that I probably already have talking about self-love. One of my favorite podcast episodes that I will recommend for you to listen to after you listen to this one, is Damn, I just slipped my mind. What it's called? Oh my god, I know the picture. I know what it was about. Self love for women like us. Yes, that's what it was called. Something like that. I can't remember what podcast episode or anything, but it was like self love for women like us. And it's basically about women like us that were probably taught how to hate ourselves. And so, due to our upbringings, that's what we were taught, how to hate ourselves. And so, it's hard for us to love ourselves. Basically, in a nutshell, what it's about. But I got very emotional on there. It's an actual video you can watch. I recorded that podcast episode, and it's one of my favorites. I don't know why, but I guess it's because it's the emotional aspect of it. Because I'm an emotional girly, and I love being that way. But that's a good one. So that's one you can listen to as well. Anyway, let's get into today's podcast topic more. So I have like a little list, I guess, that I want to go through. They're in no particular order, but it's just a few points that I want to make about what you are possibly getting wrong about self love. Because the thing is, it's probably a lot that you're not recognizing. Just from the little scenario I gave you at the beginning about the girl that I'm coaching. And I want to give you some, I guess, guidance and let you know that you are probably loving yourself right now and headed in the right direction. Like, you're not so depleted of self love as you think. You're just probably not labeling the things you do for yourself as self love because you're not looking at it that way. So, the first thing is first. I want to say that what you're getting wrong about self love is you are possibly having a difficult time accepting yourself. And what I mean by that is you may feel like that you have to get to a certain point on your healing journey, that you may have to be a certain weight, that you may have to look a certain way, get to a certain point, reach a certain goal, or get a certain job, graduate school, whatever life goals, whatever you have in mind that you really are going after and want. You may have it wrapped up in your head that, or you may not even have it wrapped up in your head. You may not be realizing that there is no point you have to get to love yourself. What I find that many of us are doing when we have a depletion of self love is that we're trying to earn our own love. Now, this could be true, especially if you believe that love has to be earned. If you've always overperformed for love, always overextended yourself, then you may be doing the same thing to you when it comes to your own love for yourself. You may feel like you don't even deserve your own love. So, what you're getting wrong about self love in this point is that you believe that you have to earn your own love, and you don't. Something that I had to wrap my brain around, that I had a difficult time wrapping my brain around, is that love never, ever has to be earned. It is truly something that is just given from those that have the capacity to give it. It is not something that you have to overperform for, or love hard for, or work hard for. It's none of those things. It just is, and it's just given. And so when you look at it that way, I feel like essentially self love is self acceptance. And it's learning to accept yourself where you're at right now in this moment. It doesn't matter what you have or don't have. It doesn't matter that you have some insecurities about yourself, meaning some things you don't really care for about yourself. It's none of that. It's accepting yourself for fully who you are, loving you for who you are. And sometimes I think we forget that we can love us for who we are right now. There's no certain point we have to get to. There's no certain perfection that we have to reach. You can love yourself, flaws and all. I mean, I'm sure you've loved some bad men before, flaws and all. I'm sure you have. Well, love yourself that way. And another point I want to make about this is that we may find it difficult to love ourselves in that way, without trying to earn our own love, simply because we may not know what there is to love about us. We may have never had anyone actually love us for who we are. And not just anyone. I'm going to say that it was very important to have the people you're dependent on in your upbringing to really love you for who you are, not for what you can do, not for because of how intelligent you are, that you make good grades in school, that you keep your room clean, not for those things that you must do, but for you, ugh, but loving you for exactly who you are. And so that's why you are trying to earn your own love. And you're having a hard time accepting yourself for who you are right now because no one else ever did. And you've only ever had to earn love. So your idea and view about love is that it must be earned. And so when you have that mindset, that makes it that much harder to love yourself. So I want you to drop the notion that you have to earn love and work on loving yourself right now where you're at. And if self-love sounds too difficult to do, then start with the small things like I'm going to accept myself. I'm going to erase the shame around things that I feel. I'm going to respect myself. I'm going to honor myself. Start there and it will build. The next thing that you could be getting wrong about self-love is that you are missing the opportunity to understand you more. I think sometimes we are quick to label ourselves and judge ourselves for mistakes we made or things that we've gone through or just anything that's negative that's happened to us or something that we've done, we have a hard time forgiving ourselves for. I think we're quick to jump from the mistake we made right to shaming ourselves and blaming ourselves. But somewhere in the middle, there is an opportunity for you to understand yourself. So understand, you know, the mistake you made. Understand where you went wrong. Understand how you can do better moving forward. Understand why you did what you did. Like for me, understanding why I picked the exes that I picked. Why I stayed in those relationships like I did. I didn't call myself stupid, dumb, or crazy, or just hopeless in love, or just, I didn't call myself any negative name. I never once did that. I never felt dumb for loving my exes through their shit. Never. Although some others may disagree and say that I was dumb. That's also what can stop you on your self love journey because you're listening to everyone else and everyone else's harsh opinion. You can't talk to yourself like that. You can't think of yourself like that. You are a whole human being having a whole human experience. So, why belittle yourself or limit yourself? Not limit yourself, but why reduce yourself to some derogatory name? You know? Why not try to work and understand yourself? That is self love. Understanding why I made the choices I made, why I did what I did. That's almost on a daily basis. When I'm triggered or something comes up or thoughts come up, anything comes up, I'm not quick to jump to calling myself a name. I'm going to work to understand and process it. And I feel like some people will argue that that's just making excuses or you're trying to dodge accountability. People put those thoughts in your head. And I feel like that we tend to operate like that. We think that we have to be an absolute and that we can't extend grace to ourselves in a way of where we're trying to work and understand ourselves better. We have to either be this or that, black or white. You're this, you're that. It's not that. No, understand yourself, process it. That is what you're getting wrong about self-love, is that you're trying to bypass that, or you're not trying to bypass that, you are bypassing that because you think that you have to jump right into shaming yourself, and you don't. Work to understand and process things. There's this quote that I read by, I don't want to get the name wrong, but it's by, I think it's pronounced Teach Not Han. It's like an old philosopher. I can't remember if I'm saying that right. But This is a quote that I read that I always live by and love. I um I may not be getting it verbatim because I didn't look it up before doing this. It just came to me. So forgive me if I get it wrong. But he said something along the lines of anything you understand, you can't help but to love. And he went on to say something else after that that kind of went with it. But the main point is what I just said is that anything you understand, you can't help but to love. And I feel that way about a lot of things. I feel that way about the music I listen to, about the books I read. You know, when you find like the hidden meaning behind a song or an album or why someone did something, you know the story behind it and you understand it more, don't you fall in love with it even more? Like, oh, I don't know about you. Maybe find your thing that you do that with. But for me, it's music. Like, I get on Rap Genius all the time. And if I don't understand some lyrics, I like to look it up and see where it came from. And I fall in love with it even more because it's like, oh, I get it. Or even something that I didn't really care for at first. But when someone explains it to me, I'm like, oh, and I love it more. And I start to love it. So apply it to yourself. I've applied it to myself. Like, understanding myself and not missing the opportunity when things arise in my life that either trigger me or either hurt me or anything that arises like that can be, I guess, difficult or a challenge. I take that opportunity to work to understand myself more. I'm not ever in the business of shaming myself, blaming myself, talking down on myself, calling myself names. I'm not going to talk to me that way. And you shouldn't either. That's what you're getting wrong about self love. Bad talking yourself. Stop that. And figure out, you know what? Here's a point I want to make before I move on to the next one. If you find yourself bad talking yourself, talking down on yourself, ask yourself, where did you learn that from? Who taught you to talk to yourself like that? That's a good starting point. Is figuring that out. Next point. Um, I like this one because it's something small, but it's something kind of that makes a big difference. Romanticizing your life. I know you're thinking, oh, I heard this before. Romanticize your life. But I want to tell you some examples that came to me leading up to me doing this podcast, like over the weeks. And I'm like, oh, this must be what romanticizing your life is about. It's finding joy in like the little small things. And it sounds so cliche, but hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. Don't sleep on it until you try it, okay? And I want you to be intentional with it. So when you're doing something that bring that you find that's small, but you find a little joy in it, I want you to be intentional about paying attention to it and seeing how it makes you feel. For example, I like that I have a tea kettle. I don't know why that's so silly to me, but maybe it is small and silly. But let me explain why I feel so. I don't know. I feel like I'm loving myself using a tea kettle instead of boiling water in a pot to make my tea or heating up the mug in the microwave and then the mug getting piping hot. So now you got to grab a pot holder to grab it out the microwave so that you can use it. That's what I used to do back in the day before I finally buckled down and got a tea kettle. Well, I asked for a tea kettle for Christmas a few years back because I'm like, I'm tired of doing it this way. I love to drink my tea. And, when you're sick and you're drinking Theraflu, like, I'm sick of doing it this way. There's got to be a better way. And that's like, if they do make tea kettles, why haven't I never invested in one? I guess I never thought much of it. Like, oh, it don't matter. I can keep on boiling my pot of water. If it ain't broke, don't fix it or whatever. We think like that. We don't think that something so small can make such a big impact in our lives. And that tea kettle, and when every morning when I make my tea and I'm pouring it into my little cup, making my tea, I feel like I'm romanticizing my life and I feel good. It gives me joy. And it makes me feel like, you know what? I love myself. I love this little life. It's the little things. I promise you. I promise you. And it makes me think highly of myself. Something that small, I feel good about myself and think highly of myself. Some other small examples. You have to do it for you, girlfriends. Like whatever it is, make sure you're doing some things for you. For example, how many of you have ever ran to help and get your toes done or nails done because you got an outing that weekend? But all, the weeks leading up to that, your toes and hands may have been looking crusty dusty. No judgment, no judgment, but hear me out. But all the time that you sit in the house and you're looking at your hands and toes and not caring about it, but now it's time to go out into the world, you about to get your hands and toes done. Why is that? Why save that for a special occasion? And I get it, maybe getting your nails and toes done can be a bit expensive. I get it. Okay, I do press ons. I figured out a way to make my press ons last longer. And I do press on toenails. No shame in my game. And it's cheaper. It's just cheaper for me because I'm like, I don't have money. I kind of do, but I don't want that in my budget. So I just keep doing my press ons. I've learned how to do it well. And I love doing that for me. Like even during the winter months when I wasn't wearing sandals or going anywhere, I like looking down at my toes and seeing them looking nice and neat. I even bought like a little thing to get the crust off the back of your heels. I bought like an electric one. Love it. Oh my God. Work wonders. I never had to get a pedicure again unless I just want to be fancy. And I got a little extra money to splurge. But that's my thing. And get this, like before leading up to that, when I was doing, I didn't have my toes. I had not done my toes yet. I put it that way. I had not done them yet. And so I was wearing like my enclosed slippers because I didn't even want to look at them. I'm like, I don't want to look at my feet. I haven't gotten around to doing them yet, but I am going to do them. That's what I was telling myself. And so when I finally did my toes, I swapped out them enclosed slippers, got my little slippers with the toes out. Thought I was something else walking around the house looking at my toes and my little nice little fuzzy slippers with the toes out. I sure did. I sure did when I switched them slippers out just so I could look at my toes because I did it for me and it felt great. So what you're getting wrong about self-love is that you're not doing enough things for you. You may think you are, but think closely about some of the things that I'm saying and make sure you're intentionally doing things for you. And it may come off a little extra. And I think sometimes we have a difficult time being extra because maybe we have looked at other people that were extra and said they're bougie or they're stuck up, conceited, doing too much, and you don't want to put that label on yourself. Or maybe you don't want other people thinking that about you, that you're bougie, stuck up, or extra, and you don't like the labels that come with you just doing things like that and taking care of yourself like that or romanticizing your life like that. You may not, you may think about all these different labels that come with it, but you gotta say, fuck that. I'm just gonna say simply as that. You have to do what feels right and feels good for you. Like you deserve to do that for you. I promise you it'll change your life. Those little small things. Like I'm so excited. I just finally got me some more lounge clothes. Like I'm starting to care more about how I look in the house. You know? Because I don't get out much. I work from home. So I'm not leaving the house much. And I like it like that. Don't get me wrong. I love being in the house. So, but I'm tired of getting up, going to the restroom or bathroom, looking in the mirror and I'm like, oh, I look busted. And don't get me wrong, like my hands and toes are done and stuff. My hair is it's all right, but it's mostly up in a little curly bun, like it is if it has been. But I'm like, I want to look better in the house, so I'm investing in some lounge clothes, some nice, cute lounge clothes. I'm slowly building up that. I usually just buy clothes to go out in. So what about me in the house? I want to look cute in the house. So I have a lingerie set that I wear and I got the lingerie set to wear on vacation with my husband, right? Which I did. But I said, you know what? I'm wearing when I get back home too. I already had planned to. That was the start of me upping my lingerie and loungewear for me in the house. And so we got back home. I washed and cleaned it, and I took a shower and put it back on while I was back home. And as soon as my husband seen me in it, he was like, "Why are you wearing that?" He didn't say it in a way like, "Oh, you look goofy." It was not like that. He was just like thinking it was just a vacation fit, for our little, anniversary time together. And I'm like, "Cuz I like it. I want to wear it." He's like, oh, "Okay, I was just wondering." I guess he was surprised because it is new for me. I usually don't do that. And then I found out later, he was like, "I do like when you wear that though." He told me. I was like, "I wasn't wearing it for you." I didn't say that. But I'm thinking like, I'm not wearing it for him, but I really like how it make me feel while I'm in it in the house, and I look decent and cute just to me. So I got me some more clothes, some more lounge clothes coming. I got my skincare routine that I'm gonna start doing. I said I'm gonna start doing like skincare routine videos. I want to track my process because I am really trying to meet a goal of looking good without makeup. I want very pretty skin. I want that good skin, no darkness under my eyes. I'm trying to heal my skin. I'm trying to work on my weight too. That's the next thing on my list. So it's like I'm doing these things because I want to start feeling better about me. I would say that it's not like I hated me before. I wanted to feel better about my skin, and I'm tired of my skin looking the way it is. And I'm also wanting to lose some weight because I've gained weight since being in this relationship with my husband. So those are things that I'm doing for me, you know? No one else is probably going to see my bare skin because I typically wear makeup when I go out. But I'm seeing it. So I'm doing it for me. So that kind of went, I guess that goes with romanticizing your life, but I want you to find ways in your life that you can do more things for you that makes you think highly of yourself just for you. It doesn't matter what anyone else says, it doesn't matter if anyone else is going to experience it with you, any of that. Something that is solely just for you. Find more ways to do that. That is going to increase your self love. I guarantee it. So, next and last thing, girlfriends, I just want to make a point to say that don't work on your self love in the hopes of meeting a man or finally being in a relationship. Don't use self love like it's some type of, I guess, currency or something like that, where if you build it up enough, then you can cash it out for a man. You know what I'm saying? Don't don't do that to yourself. Don't. I want you to know that you are going to need your self love even still after you get a man. If you don't have a man, no matter where you're at in your life, you know, no matter where, you're always going to need your self love because it is your job to show up for yourself and to take care of yourself. Any man that you're with or partner that you're with is really just an addition to that. They're not there to take over after you get with them. It's not like, whoo, now I can stop loving myself. Come on, you got to take over and love me and love me, love me. Nope. Nope, nope. They're just adding to the love that you already have for yourself. And if you are low on your self love, or you're not doing things for yourself, or you are not romanticizing your life, you don't have a life of your own. If you are not doing those things for yourself and you're dependent on that man, you're going to be very, very unhappy, girlfriend. I promise you that. Because it's never going to be enough that he can give you, ever. So, you have to always have your self love. It's very important. So, if you're single now, start on it now. If you're in a relationship and you're struggling and you feel like that may be why, start doing things for you. There should be enough room in any healthy relationship for you to love on yourself and love your partner. And the same for them. Like in my past relationships, my toxic exes, there was no room for me to love myself really. Because if I did, it was like disloyalty to them. It was like scary for them. They would never say it, of course. Men are not going to say that. But it was like threatening to them for me to love myself because it's like I'm either going to wise up and realize I don't need them and I don't want them anymore, or they think I'm cheating on them, I'm disloyal, I'm disrespecting them. You know, they think all those things because it had to always be all about them and their needs and never about me. So if you're in this situation and you don't have room to fully love yourself, that's not your soulmate. that's not that's not the person for you. There should be enough room for you to always love yourself and to love them and the vice versa. So always have your own life. Always have your own goals. Having your own life and own goals is an act of self love. There are so many little acts of self love that you're probably doing and don't realize. So I want you to be more intentional about those things. Anything that you do for yourself, anytime that you work to understand yourself, anytime that you accept yourself, anytime that you think highly of yourself or do something that makes you feel good about yourself, anytime that you honor yourself, even if it's a shortcoming or something that you can't really do or something that's a flaw, anytime you honor it and you accept it, that is self-love, okay? All of it is self-love. So, in the gist of things, I guess the thing you're getting wrong about self-love is that you're probably thinking too hard about it. And you're probably just bypassing it because you think that you can't love yourself yet, you know? So, I hope this helped. I hope these helped you to get, I guess, a better idea and a better breakdown how to love yourself and how to continue to love yourself. Not just do it and then stop, but how to always love yourself and continue to do it. So, that's all I got for this podcast episode. Check out my website, I'veBeenThatGirl.net, for books, my social media pages, um, coaching, all that good stuff. So, until the next podcast episode, girlfriends, peace out.